Right. I was gonna actually start singing "New York" by Alicia Keys then, but I'll save everybody's ears. You know what I mean? It's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, no,
Um,
definitely not.
no, definitely not. What? Why New York? Why are you going to New York?
So before COVID, I was meant to move there, then COVID happened, and this is just the first time I'm kind of able to properly go since then. So it's the next one. Just try it out. I've lived there twice before. I did two J1s. It's like a visa you can get when you're a student in Ireland. I think you can get it in the UK as well. And I just said I wanted to give it a go after experiencing it those two times. So we're gonna see.
Wow. How long are you planning on going over for?
No idea. I genuinely cannot plan things. Like even say like I'm so spontaneous in like my decision making. So start of the year moved to Asia to Bali. Then I took like a random trip to Australia. I loved Australia, so I could end up there. But it's more so to try things out. Like I really enjoy new places,
Mm.
well, let's say new cultures, new things, and just adventure. And I work really well in cities. So I was living in Dublin there for like a year before I went to Bali, and just even my work ethic, productivity, and everything just soars when I'm in a city. So I just give it a go and see.
Yeah. There's a little bit of hustle going on, right? Like people just want to do things and progress, and it really does light a fire in your ass.
100% if you're going to put it that way, yeah.
Well, it's true though, right?
Yeah. I've never heard of it said like that, but yeah, just like the fire.
I'm English, mate. Come on, like I come out with shit.
I know. This is the start of it now. Let's see what else comes out in
Yeah,
this conversation.
here we go. You know, we're gonna end up headbutting the screen at each other in a minute.
I'll start saying mate now, no time. You're right, mate.
Do you not say it?
No, we say lad. What's the crack, lad? Lads.
Yeah. Oh, you say "la" as well, right? Just like the buddy Scousers.
Lads.
No, LA, la.
No, we don't say that.
Oh, maybe that is just the Scousers.
Yeah,
We don't
definitely
talk
just
about them. We just kind of carve that part out of the UK and just let it float. You know what I mean?
sips tea. I am maybe a Liverpool supporter myself, but we won't go any further into that conversation, into that topic.
We love to hate him. I'm Mike. Mate, I want to jump in. You did a retreat.
I did. I finished my second retreat there yesterday.
Well, talk to me.
So, one of my main well, obviously, fitness, exercise, always been a huge passion of mine. Hence, me being a personal trainer, sports nutritionist as well. But over the last year or two, I've really, really dove into like all things wellness. Now my work is my work is all online. But a sense of like connection and community with people is one of like my passions, I would say, or like really strong interest in mine. So I wanted to like put together an event for people to come and connect, but also movement for their bodies. And also my background, like I went to university and studied psychology. So bringing psychology into that as well. Again, it all kind of goes into well-being. So it's like mastering your mind, taking care of your mind, taking care of your body. So yeah, Active with Aimie is my job. It's my brand, I suppose you'd call it. So just made Active with Aimie retreats, and I had my second one yesterday.
Wow. How did that go?
It's great. I was absolutely buzzing. I got such a nice location. So it was by the sea in this so I'm from County Clare, West of Ireland, southwest of Ireland. And just everything was just so zen. Like you think you'd be stressed, like organizing an event and making sure everything goes smoothly while also giving a really long psychology based chat. You think you'd be like stressed throughout the day. The minute I got there, I was like, oh my God, no, this is so relaxing. So yeah, no, it just went great. And I'm only just talking about the venue, not even things that happens during the day. Like, but no, it went great.
Wow. So what pillars did you end up attacking? What do you do in this retreat?
What do I do in the retreat?
Yeah. Talk to me. I'm interested.
So starts off the day with yoga. So it's a beginner friendly yoga usually, because people that kind of come, well, you will have like intermediate, you will have advanced, but again, we start with like a restorative kind of yoga flow. I got a yoga teacher in to do that. So everybody starts off that. Then afterwards, we go into a meditation. So it's a 45-minute meditation. Again, I hired someone to come in to do that as well. I could do these things. No, not the yoga. I'm trained in meditation, but I just feel sometimes there are people better off in these that do do these things. And I want to provide the best service possible for everybody that's bought tickets and is attending. So anyways, had a meditation teacher come in. She was absolutely amazing. Then there was food, whatnot, mingling. And then I had 3 psychology-based chats. So first one was on career growth, and then optimal performance in work and life. Then the next one was on neuropsychology and just like basically speaking of the psychology behind our brain, our reactions, our behaviors, manifestation, visualization, all that, but with a science-based approach. And then I did, because, well, my background is in psychology, but I like to simplify things a lot. So I don't actually use psychological terms. Like I could use the psychological terms, but people who listen to me are like, what the hell is that? Like, what is I can't even give an example of one now on the spot. But if I was to do a chat and I was to use all these psychological terms, people are like, what is she talking about? So basically, I base my talks then around mindset, just like simplifying topics around like emotions, well-being, all mindset, and just really like reprogramming our brains and our perceptions and how we perceive situations and the shit stuff that life throws at us. So yeah.
Wow. That's
Sips
wadded.
tea.
You know, that's I would say it was you know, worth the while, worth going.
Oh yeah, I'd hope to think so. Anyways, like the feedback from them are always so good. So yeah, no, it's great. Again, like with my job, it's quite isolating online, so it's even great for me to be there and meet people and meet like my followers or my clients in person, face to face. And like that's something I absolutely love, because I'm such a people's person. Like I love people. So it's although it's great for everybody attending, it's so good for me as well. So I really enjoyed them.
For sure, you're gonna get so much out of it, like especially when you see it kind of come to light, right? Rather than just through a computer screen. That's just gonna light you up even more and set more fire underneath your ass. If we're gonna stick with that same one, you know.
100%.
So you mentioned something
Yeah, no,
about.
honestly, definitely does.
Oh, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Mega. Yeah. So you mentioned something about community and connectivity, right? So how do you build that? Right. I've noticed even just walking the streets, you know, post COVID, everybody's a little bit wary of everybody else. You know, it's kind of like an elephant in the room. We're looking at each other through a glass window, right? Rather than sat in the same room. And it's this aura of like standoffish behavior. So how would you go about creating that?
I think the first thing is to make it known that, even say for me, for example, and the speakers and everyone I had come in, I even like I'd already like prepped the girls, not even prepped the girls beforehand, but I'd said it to them. I was like, the vibe I want in the room is informality, and
Mm,
I want everybody to be seen as if everybody's equal. I don't, just because you have XYZ qualification and you are teaching today, amazing, but I don't want anybody to feel like you're superior to them, because we're all human and nobody's superior to each other. So it's coming down to that level of being a human being, and human beings are imperfect. Like even with my talk, if I mess up, I'm like, oh, I wasn't meant to say that yet. I'll say what I was meant to say now. And like just make it extremely informal. Like there was no microphones, there was no standing up talking. I was sat on the stage with my legs crossed. I had my sheets in front of me. I was like, guys, if I forget something, I'm looking at the sheet because I want you to take in all this information. So that's the first thing. It's informality. I absolutely adore informality. It's human interaction, and humans are informal and humans are imperfect, so informality is perfect for me. So that's one thing. And then the next thing is just vulnerability. So actually just opening up, not even opening up, should I say, but being an imperfect human and letting people see that. And
mm,
when, like, even for example, like I always talk about, like, I run a business and stuff, and people see me in a certain light, or because I'm on social media they may see me in a certain light, but I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm a normal human being trying to figure things out just as much as everybody else is. And letting people know that. And even like something so small, one of the speakers was like, this is actually my first talk today, I'm really nervous. And by her even saying that to the room, everyone's like, oh, she's like, oh, she's nervous too. So it's vulnerability and informality for me. They're 2 absolute key components. Yeah, to compete. Yeah, those 2.
I I love you for saying informality. You know, that fucking resonates with me so much. I think everybody tries to be this prim and proper version of themselves, right? And I don't get it, mate. Like I just end up switching off. I'm like, okay, you've lost me. I'm blonde, so I'm a little bit sporadic upstairs anyway, and super dyslexic. So if you write something on the board, I can't read it, but if you walk up with a suit and tie and you're like, okay, sir, your honor, I'm like, I'm out, man. I'm from West Side of Manchester.
Uh-huh.
Like, talk shit with me. Call me the Milky Bar Kid or something. Like, let's
Even
run
when
with this.
you even when you email me, so when you email me to ask me to come on this, and you were like, right, well, boss, all right, mate, I was like, I love this. I hate formal emails. I even said it to my sister, as like, I'm going on this podcast, and this guy is a bit of me, the way he was emailing and just the way he was using words. I was like, I love this.
That's all you're ever gonna get, man. Like, I'm
Good
sorry, but
though.
it's not gonna change the way I am. Like, I used to,
Never do.
what was it? I mean, kind of the late Lizzie. I'd be like, listen, I'd be the first person to say cunt in front of the Queen. I'm just like, I don't care. Like, it's just we're people, where it's just words. We're communicating in a way, and like, just walk the way you walk, talk the way you talk. Like, just kind of, show me a little bit of say something fucked up. It gives life a little bit more sustenance,
A little bit more zest.
a
But
little
the
bit
thing
more.
is, like, when you're when you're informal, you're acting like you're like who you are as a person, and that's going to attract like what likes. You're going to attract more people like you. But if you're putting up a front and this perfectionism, that's not even a thing. You're number one going to feel uncomfortable because it's not who you truly are, and then you're going to attract people that you have no idea who they are, what's going on, and you're not on the same vibe. So informality is king. Informality is king.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny the amount of times I'll end up getting bloody disciplined when I'm coaching within a gym, and it's like, no, Alex, we can't say that. And I was like, can't say what? I was like, you can't say fuck. I was like, that doesn't make no sense, man, because we're all adults in this room, and people are going to relate to that. I'm here to connect with these people so then I can help them. If I stand at the front and put on this facade, right, they're not going to connect with me. They're just going to tap out, and then you're just going to rob them blind and take their money, and we're not going to help them. So it's like, what are we in the business of? Robbing or helping them?
Yeah, just being your true self, and not a lot of people are. So super important.
So how would you advise someone to get the confidence to be their true self?
I think the first step comes with self-awareness. So many people go through life and they actually have no actual idea who they are because they don't ask themselves the questions you need to ask yourself, and they don't get to know themselves. Like, even if I was to, like, we'll ask other people a million and one questions to get to know them, but then when it comes to you, do you actually ask yourself to get to know you and what you want and what you desire and what you want to go after, XYZ. So I think, yeah, first step, self-awareness, questioning yourself. I actually journal quite a lot, so journaling is huge. I just brought out a journal ebook with prompts to help people with that, because people find it so difficult to ask themselves the uncomfortable questions, and there are comfortable questions too, of course. But yeah, self-awareness. And then the more self-aware you are, the more accepting you can be of yourself, and the more accepting you can be of yourself, the less you care of what other people think. So that's the first step, and it all comes like snowball effect after that. Just become aware of who you are.
Yeah, I was having a conversation last night with a very good friend of mine, and it was like we said exactly the same thing of we ask other people so many questions, right, to be able to get to know them and understand them, etc., etc. But how many people ask themselves those questions? And I think you have to be in a situation where you kind of forced to ask yourself those questions, you know?
I think that's the start of it. Yeah. So like, it would probably take someone in their life for something horrible to happen for them to really be like, oh my God, I need to sort my shit out. And if that means getting to know myself, I need to do it. Or I need to heal from something. I suppose other people use that terminology as well.
Yeah.
But it's so important. And you know what? Self-awareness is so attractive, because when you know who you are, you know what you're gonna put up with and you know what you're not. And you know where you want to go and you know what your goals are and you know everything. And it is a continuous life thing you have to practice.
Mm.
But starting is the first step in it, and everything else becomes easier. Now, with that being said, confidence takes a lot of time, and there are people that will care a bit more what other people think versus other people. It's just, based on personality and who a person is themselves, and it will, yeah, like I mentioned, take time to build up. But even just beginning and making the conscious decision to want to get to know yourself more, to
Mm.
change, then becomes easier once you just begin.
Yeah, and even if you do have a tendency to care a little bit more about other people's opinions, right? If you are aware of that, you can start to understand it, and you can kind of divert yourself on different paths in whatever environment dictates, right?
And start questioning yourself, be like, why do I care so much? Why did this bother me so much? And then by getting the answers for that, you know what the
Mm.
root cause would be. And you can, if you want to avoid certain situations in the future or avoid certain people, then you know because you've asked questions and become self-aware of it. So
Mm.
yeah, self-awareness, it's powerful.
Here's a question. What's your purpose?
To positively impact as many human beings on this planet as possible, as I possibly can.
Mm. In what way?
Making them, if even just 1% happier in who they are, what they're doing, and just within their lives. Because there is just so much negativity, so much shit, so much pressure, so much trouble, so much stressor, so much negativity in this world. And if I can be that 1% light for somebody, I will be. And that's the complete driving force behind Active with Aimie and everything I do in terms of work and wellness and mindset and exercise. So yeah, it's just to bring as much, because I am a person that experiences extreme joy, and I have for like all of my life. And I'm just, obviously I have my bad days. I am human, of course, but I know
You
what
sure?
it's like to, of course, I have. I'd hope so, anyways, or else I'd be an absolute robot walking around here with a smile on my face 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but no, I have experienced extreme joy, and I want to like give the tools and the help I can for other people to experience that and just to master their minds, because we live every single day in our heads, and if we can't control it, life becomes unbearing. So getting control up in our heads means things, and life becomes that small bit easier. So yeah, that's my
Mm.
purpose.
I love it how you said happiness first, because I think
Yeah,
it's life's currency.
absolutely. If there is one goal that every single human being has on this planet, it is to be happy.
Mm.
It is literally the core of everything. Now, there are things that will make a person happy, of course, but that is the core thing that everyone looks for.
Where do you think that came from? Do you think it was taught as a kid? Do you think it was like a specific life experience? Do you think it's kind of innate and you were kind of born with it?
Being happy.
That school of thought, yeah.
Um, it's really interesting because I only actually properly realized my purpose was, I'd say it was like a year and a half ago. Like I actually didn't know. I thought it was going to be like, go get people like fit and healthy exercise wise, because I know how much that brought me joy and clarity and everything positive. But I remember as a child, one just random example, I was in a shop with my mom, and this woman she obviously knew, um had I was with her, and they started having a conversation. But the woman said, your daughter just looked so happy. It was something so small, she said. And that's just one example. And then I had a fifth class teacher and a sixth class teacher in primary school. And at my primary school teacher meetings, Mama went and she came home and like she gave me the feedback. I was a really good student. I love school, but she came home and gave me the
Nerd.
feedback, the feedback anyway. Oh, absolutely proud to be. But gave me the feedback, and two of my teachers was like, she so I can't remember exactly word for word, but they were just saying she always has a smile on her face and it's extremely contagious. And I've been a child, been told this, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. Yay.
Mm.
But then yeah, like a year ago, I was like, what is it that I'm so good at and that I am good at putting myself, like a state of mind, putting myself into, that I can do to help people. And I was like, the word that popped up was happiness. And I was like, I can teach people to be happier. And I literally, it was like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh my God. And then all those little things that happened growing up and the things I was told, then popped into my head. And I was like, oh my God, people have been saying this to me for years, but I never tuned in on it or zoomed in on it. But yeah, I think that's where I came from. Like if I was to look back on it, I've always been like this. And I am so grateful I have been, but I also think I'm quite mentally resilient and I do put the work in. Like happiness isn't a thing, it's a habit. You need to get into the habit of doing things to put you in a certain state. And as as I get older and life goes on, life gets harder and there's so much more pressure and stressors and everything. But having the tools and knowing what I can tap into to put me back in a more positive state is extremely, extremely beneficial. And I've taught myself over the years to do that. Like as a child, obviously, I'm innately just so joyous because we don't think as much when we're children. The more we think, the more negative we can become, I suppose I would say. But as you get older, you think more, you worry more, you have so much more responsibility and stuff. So it's that little bit harder, but then having the practices to put you back in that state. And when I'm in that state, I'm just absolutely just living life as I want to live life. And that's all we kind of need to do.
You seem like you're a lighthouse. That's how I would describe it.
A lighthouse?
Yeah, you kind of guide everybody else.
Yeah, I suppose like my job is a coach. So like
yeah,
I do teach and I do help. Lighthouse, never heard that one before.
Yeah, I was I kind of one of my mates brought it up to me a while back. Basically made the example. They were given this analogy and I was like kind of thought about it and like, oh, okay, yeah. Somebody who enables other people to kind of find that euphoric land, happiness land, new promised land, whatever you want to call it, right?
That's so cute. I love that.
I would that's the vibe I get. And that's the vibe I got. That's why I sent you an email. I was like, this is interesting.
Yay.
You know?
And yeah, like will attract like. So obviously there's something in you that sees that too. It's actually interesting you say that lighthouse thing. My friend sent me a post today, right? And it was the cutest thing ever. But she said I was a sunflower. So she sent me this post on Instagram. I don't know if this is going to be on video.
You posted it, right?
Yes, I did. I'm going to read it just because it's so I wouldn't say it's a poem, it's like a little thing, but it goes, sometimes in life you cross paths with someone who instantly makes you feel calm, refreshed, alive, and wholesome. They encourage your dreams and celebrate your wins without 1 ounce of jealousy. They just want what's best for you and you for them. There isn't much more to it. They are warm and bright, loving and loyal. You can't help but feel authentically happy in their presence, like the best version of yourself. And then it goes, thank you for being my sunflower. So I would encourage everybody to be a lighthouse and to be a sunflower because life's so much better that way. You spread the positive vibes and you will get it back.
For sure. Like I really do. Like I can sit down, go a little bit crazy and write some things down sometimes, right? Usually on a Sunday with copious amounts of caffeine. But I think most people fall into the trap of I'm going to try and be the person I think you want me to be, right? And that to me, again, simple blonde brain doesn't make any sense. So the way I kind of think is you be you and I'll learn to love that. That's it. I'm like, okay, cool. That's who this person is. Probably not going to get on, or we're going to be a great business partner, or we're going to be great mates, or whatever the fuck it is, right? You're like, great. That's what that person is. I'm going to learn to love that. Rather than just like this weird middle ground where I'm going to play a character, you're going to play a character. And those characters are going to try and figure out the other characters' wants. And you're like, whoa, this is getting really matrix, complicated, don't make sense. I was like, guys, just kind of do your thing, right? And then just give a little bit of love.
With that being said, though, like if you are going to change like there is absolutely 0 point changing yourself just to be seen in a certain way in the eyes of another person. Like being true to yourself, your people are going to find you. Because like if you're doing so much changing and shape shifting or whatever, you're going to attract the wrong people and it's going to catch up with you because eventually you're going to be so tired from it that you're like, what am I doing? Like you'll be living in a lie essentially. So being your true authentic, oh my God, I can never say that word, authentic self, you will attract the people in your life that are meant to be in your life. And although there may be people at some stages that fit there, they may not fit there in a few years' time because you may have changed or you may be a certain person, and also that's okay. And that's even a thing, like people come and go in life, and that's a real big stressor and trouble for people. But having interventions to bring you back from that to a more positive state, we won't even use the word positive, but a better mind state is super important too. So again, that just kind of went back to the whole happiness, joyous thing, but again, having the things to help you be mentally resilient in life is so important.
That's something that used to fuck me up like totally is change.
Why?
Don't know. I think potentially out of fear. I grew up like super scared about everything, a lot of violence, you know. So anything that was going to change was more than likely going to change for the bad, or was more than likely going to end up in, you know, knives, crime, violence, and not being in the best of situations. So I think subconsciously, I learned to fear it and hate it and be like, no, 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 this is not going to be good. Like if I can see it in my hand and I can control it in the room and look after it in the room, I know it's okay, you know. So if I knew something was coming up, it was going to change, didn't know what it was going to change into. Already, I'm scared as shit. I'm like, cool, where's the knife? Put it in my pocket, you know, figure it out. I don't know who's coming through the door, you know, yada yada. That type of school of thought. But over time, again, coming here taught me a lot of lessons. Spent a lot of time on my Billy Bob, just literally writing things down and just been like, okay, well, the only constant in life is change, you know. So you ain't gonna change that, son. You know.
Ironic, isn't it? The only constant in life is change.
Yeah, I mean, life is an oxymoron, right?
Life is an oxy bloody moron.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's something we can't avoid, but it's something that we can embrace. And with change, it obviously it takes time to get used to your new circumstances or your new whatever it may be. But you will be all the better for it, and you will grow so much as a person. You'll become so much more open-minded, and the more growing you do, the more you're equipped for life's experiences and whatever life's going to throw at you next. And then even just from change, open-mindedness comes, and the more open-mindedness a person is, the absolute better. Like
100%.
open-minded people are just incredible.
100%. Like, you ever try and have a conversation with someone who is just like closed off? It's impossible.
Impossible. And again, that doesn't work, like doesn't welcome vulnerability, doesn't
No,
welcome
no.
informality. And if we don't got them, we don't have connection. And connection is a human need, so important.
I'd say is it number one?
Wouldn't say it's number one, but I would say it's on the start or very high up on a list of needs.
What is number one?
I think it's subjective, but first one that springs to mind, I would presume, would be love.
Weird. It's like I'm talking to a mirror.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, legit.
Yeah. And I would kind of argue between love and safety, but I think with love comes safety. Jesus, getting proper deep in emotions. This chat, did not think it'd be going down this week. Yeah, like there's even there's actually a TikTok trend at the moment, and it's actually it's cringe, but it's kind of cute at the same time. Depends how you want to look at it. But it's like, oh, I'm tired, I want to go home, and then it flicks into like these like kind of collages of people with their boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or whatever. And home is somewhere where you feel safe.
Oh,
And if home is
cute.
a person, that's love. Do you get me? Do you get me?
I'd make the same thing, but I would just end up in the gym.
Oh, I would
Like
probably, I've actually seen that a good few times as well.
underneath a heavy barbell or something, or cuddling my cat.
Oh, cat's cute. But
Yeah.
also in the gym, people can feel safe because it's their headspace. It's their place to go to clear their heads. There's so many avenues we can go down with this question, but I don't even know if we have the time for it.
It's all right. I mean, let the people go down their own rabbit hole, you know. I got 3 questions though.
Okay.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you ever received?
Don't wait for the perfect moment to start something, just start. Nothing is ever perfect, and you'll learn as you go along.
Oh, that's good.
I live by that all the time. I always say to people, it was in like it wasn't even advice I was given. It was in I love deep conversation, or even conversation in general. And someone just mentioned it like in a passing comment in a conversation. It's like, well, if I waited for the perfect moment, it'd never get done, so I just did it. And I was like, oh my God, ding, light bulb, that is the best thing ever. And it was kind of like when I was like setting up my business, and I just really resonated with it because I was like, this has to be perfect. I need to know how to do this. And I was like, if I have to wait for all of this to be perfect, I'm never going to start. So yeah, perfectionism, ain't it?
Perfect's a lie.
Perfect is a lie.
Yeah, 100%. You know, we're organic, right? Means we're gonna end up dying one day, which means we have an imperfect streak. We as human beings are not perfect, so how can we replicate it?
Be perfectly imperfect is all I'll say.
Mm, again, oxymoronic.
Yeah.
What's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
um I to be honest, I don't know. If I was to receive really bad life advice, it would go in one ear and out the other, and I wouldn't even think about it for more than 5 seconds.
Well,
I
that's pretty
cannot
good
answer
life
that
advice.
question. Cannot, cannot. Yeah, no, I actually can't think of one. Maybe it wasn't even bad life advice, but if my parents wanted me to be a primary school teacher my whole life, and if I listened to that, I would not be where I am now. I wouldn't be an entrepreneur. I wouldn't have my own business. Wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I
Mm,
wouldn't be living in my purpose.
mm,
But again, I don't think that was bad life advice. That was just life.
mm. What's 3 words you'd tell your younger self?
I'm so bad at these questions.
Come on, boss.
Anything, anything to do with younger self, I'm like, ugh. So I have terrible imposter syndrome. So trying to tell myself
Really?
something, yes, terrible. I find it so hard to be proud of myself for things I do, or if I'm such an overachiever, and when I achieve something, I don't sit and I'm like, "Ooh, that's cool." I just go on to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Um, 3 pieces of life advice. Well, or not life advice, 3 things I'd say. I'll just say I'm proud of myself, proud of my younger self. Actually, yeah, I would say that. I'd say I'm very proud of my younger self. I came from a very low income family, and I've made something for myself completely outside of what I was brought up in, which I think is huge
Hmm.
because you can fall so subject to your environment, and I didn't in my case. Which I am so proud of myself for even saying that's a massive thing. What else did I say? Just things I already do. Don't care what people think of you, which I'm quite good at. Like obviously it affects me sometimes, but not always. And it's good to be independent. That's the third thing that popped into my head.
Mm, I like it.
That was a very hard question to answer.
Why?
I don't know. That was just like I could talk for Ireland, and that question just completely floored me there.
It's I don't think a lot of people give themselves love for their younger self. You know, they cast a little bit of prejudice on themselves, um, and then that's kind of it. And they live in this kind of distorted reality of something in the future. But it's like just kind of go back and just give yourself a little bit of a high five and a hug, you know, and the future is going to look after itself, man. Let's just kind of focus on what we're doing right now, you know. And it's always interesting. I learn from people when I hear these answers.
Yeah. What would you say?
To my younger self,
Mm,
see another side.
really?
Yeah,
Why that?
because again, I grew up in a violent place, and it molds a young man's mind, and there's always a different perspective. No matter what we're looking at, it's always going to be different from different sides of the conversation. Um, and I wouldn't say I was completely shut off by it, uh, but I think I was definitely playing out a pre-written destiny, you know. Um, and it's like, dude, you don't have to do these things.
That is so huge though. To like know that you don't have to go down a path that's something you were around in your environment and something you unfortunately were in, to change from that and be like, I'm no longer going to be a part of this and I'm going to see you on the other side is huge. So that is a very good answer.
Oh, thank you,
You're welcome.
mate. I appreciate it so much. Zoom's going to give me the boot. Do you want to keep talking or are we done? Got time?
It's up to you. Yeah, I got
Alright.
time.
Give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
Part 2, boys.